Hey, Cece, I want to thank you for joining me. How are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful, just still kicking it. So, I just want to talk to you about Global Gateway and why you decided to study abroad. So, if you could tell me your location and why you decided to pick it.
So I went to Greece. I actually didn't really pick it. It was in my top three list, but Spain was my number one. I'm not sure what happened. I think there was like a mix up and I got put into Greece rather than Spain. Um, which was weird because they said that Spain was still available and there were still rooms I could have gone, but I didn't end up switching and I stayed. Um, which is really nice. I didn't regret it. I've always wanted to go to Greece, so I was like, yeah, whatever, opportunity to go to Greece, might as well. So it was really nice.
I'm glad. And what were some of the key points of your journey in Greece, just like in terms of perspective, and how do you think it helped you grow? Especially since, you and I both, we did the Global Gateway program as freshmen, and typically study abroad adventures are reserved for upperclassmen. And so how do you think that kind of informed on you, or how did that help you grow, if it did?
Like doing it as a freshman, it allowed for new perspectives on um, different topics, especially because I took philosophy over there, which was a more eye-opening experience than I think it would have been had I taken it here at Mason. Because they talked about a lot more things. You're open to a lot more things than you are here, especially with the how the curriculum is set up over there. Um, I took as many things as I could about Greek life rather than about American life so that I wasn't just exposed to a different way of learning over there where their structure was very small, intimate classrooms, but also different topics that I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to have taken part of here.
And so, and if you don't mind me asking, as a young Latina woman, it's just opportunities are very slim in terms of travel and experience, especially for women, especially for people of color. And how do you think this opportunity for you specifically, how do you think that will propel you as you go forward?
I think it definitely makes me stand out against other Latinx women because most people don't get that opportunity until like junior year of college. Some don't ever get that opportunity, but it does make you more, what's the word, um, cultured, but also it opens you to a lot more, and people like that idea, and it helps you connect with more people than what we're normally surrounded with here.
I see. And in your opinion, if you don't mind me asking, why do you think, Latinx women, to use your terminology, why do you think Latinx women, men or women in particular, don't travel abroad? Or do we not see that often?
I think the opportunity is hard. We're not as exposed and we're not encouraged to take these opportunities. I know growing up it was always like, oh, it's a dream to travel, but it's like, how are we going to do it? And it's always, we'll save up money for vacation and that's how we'll do it. um we're not Most of us aren't really encouraged to go to a four-year institution. It's more community college, and I don't think as many of them offer the opportunity to go abroad as four-year institutions, especially um ones like Mason, because they're so expensive. And it's just, money's really concerning when it comes to it, and the push onto them about trying to do something like that isn't as big as compared to someone who's white.
I see. I see. I feel the same way. I remember I was having a discussion with my first episode. We were talking about it. It's just like students of color just aren't really pushed to do it. We're not really exposed to it the way we need to be.
They're
And I feel
trying to, yeah, the goal is just like, let's get you to college. And like that's like the bare minimum of what you should be doing, especially around in this area. It's like, if you can make it to college, you're making it in life, and that's really big. Studying abroad, like that's a notch like they didn't even think you could take, but it's one we're not told we can do because of just where we grow up, and how other people turn out. It's not that widely seen.
And then just speaking on that, now that you have studied abroad, you came back, you had this great adventure, and you just had this learning experience that cannot be simulated or recreated anywhere else. Do you think your friends and your family kind of see you in a different light, or
They do, they definitely do. I remember coming back and my mom's like, you seem different, and I was like, I don't know. Like it's you're open to a lot more harsh realities, and not that it was harsh. It was more you're seeing things in different light than you do sheltered here. Um, because going there, most people aren't as um preoccupied with as many things as we are. They're concerned with other things, and it really makes you think about, hey, well, like, should I really be worried and stressing over this when other people around the world aren't, worried about this, but they're worried about something bigger. And I know everyone has their own problems, and you can't really compare problems. So it's always each individual's. But for me, it was also like, if I can have the opportunity to think about someone else who's going through a lot more than me, I can put aside a couple problems and make myself calm down and realize, hey, there's a little worse going on, so I can definitely just push this aside and not worry about it. With like work especially, it's like I complain about work constantly and I hate going so much, but it's like I have a job during a global pandemic, and it's like you can't get better than that. There's some people that don't. um I'm trying to think about any other noticeable changes. Maybe slightly, we just haven't noticed them yet, but I know definitely I care more, but I also don't care as much. It's like, I know where I need to what I need to do and how I want to do it, and it's like I will get there. If I can have the opportunity to travel abroad, I can do what I want. So I'm not as much taking everyone's, crap or whatever.
Now, your location, Greece, that's like the birthplace of democracy, all the cool stuff in this world. You know what I'm saying? Everything that the Greeks did has been in some way or form copied by a different culture. How do you think, because you went to Greece, like knowing that that's where some of America's most prominent ideals and philosophies came from, how does that compare from going to the birthplace to seeing the after effect?
It is insanely different. I Being in Greece was nothing like being in America. Everything was very much different, from times where you ate, times for school, and how they went about school. I definitely feel like they were a lot more chill out with it. The coursework, I just feel like they were a lot more considerate of our times than they are here. Their daily lives aren't at all similar to ours. Their culture isn't similar to ours. Everything is insanely different. I feel like we took their ideas, and we might have twisted them a bunch of times since then to fit how we are now, just because we are such a big country and we've changed over time. But I think we've lost the true core of what we tried to take from them and try to replicate, and we aren't there anymore. But Greece also isn't doing that well, so I also think they might have lost that true core of what they wanted to be as well. So no one's really exactly there, and if there's trouble replicating it. Um, but there's definitely area to improve for both areas, to try to get back to those core beliefs and back to what we wanted to replicate with democracy, wanted to replicate with how we go about daily lives and everything.
I see. That was well said. That's very insightful. I didn't even think about that. That's like a solid point. So speaking on that democracy, we just had this huge election, and going forward with all the stigma associated with the Latinx community, how do you think, you'll progress knowing that you now have added this, this global experience to yourself? And how will you just continue forward with that?
Never be satisfied with what we currently have. There's always room for improvement. There's always room to fix something. And you don't want to be, I guess you don't want to be nitpicking, like, oh my God, we have to fix this, we have to fix this, we have to fix everything. But like I said, if we're not at that true core that we try to replicate, and that's what we're trying to represent, there's always room to try to push a little to get back there. I Moving forward, I guess it's just trying to figure out what I can do more, not only for myself, but my community, to help show that it's not
Mm.
just a white thing to do, which I guess sometimes is a stigma for the Latinx community. You know, that's, oh, that's a white thing to do. Oh, pay attention to politics. Oh, that's not for us. Like, and it's a concern sometimes because some people aren't, you know, documented. And so this is just my opinion, but you know, the whole pushing, oh, you should go vote, you should use your voice. If you don't support Black Lives Matter, then if you don't go vote, then you don't support Black Lives Matter. I I agree, definitely use your voice if you have the opportunity to and you can, but I feel like it excludes the people that can't use their voices. And I understand, like, use your voice for people that can't, but sometimes we don't like that harsh attention on ourselves. And I think some people forget to think about that. Like, you know, people don't want their business out like that. So I get, you know, just say, sometimes it's just better to say, hey, just use your voice, you know, not to single out specific groups of people, because sometimes it's a little insensitive. You know, the Black Lives Matter, I feel like, is something that they want their attention, but I don't feel like we've gotten to that point where the Latinx community is comfortable saying, hey, let's fight for undocumented people, because the issue is so hard because it's not right, you know, technically. So it's, I feel like, a little sensitive, and um it's something I wish we improved on, which is something I plan to do eventually down the line, you know, help out with that, which I think is something that I did learn going abroad, is, you know, helping out your own community at the same time. It starts small rather than big, you know. You can't change the world by trying to fight the biggest problem. You have to start small and progressively move up. Um,
Well said, Cece. Well said. Okay. What do you think was the biggest lesson that you'll take away from Greece and your time there?
appreciate my opportunities that I get. Like, I realized going to Greece was such a blessing for me. Like, a lot of people I know are like, oh my God, how did you do it? You know, I get asked constantly, like, are there other ways I can go abroad? Like, people I went to high school with, because not a lot of us get to do it. Which is interesting because the area I went to high school in was a very rich neighborhood. So you would expect most of them to study abroad, but it's still an issue. Like, going to places is really, really expensive. Um, and so I definitely think just it was a blessing to be able to have immersed myself in a different culture, gone to meet different people, lived a different lifestyle for a few months before I came back home and realized, oh, it was a big difference. It was eye opening to come back. Um, Everything is different.
At times, it really messed me up when I first flew back in because I was just like, I slept for 2 days. I was like, what is time? What is time?
It was so weird adjusting to the time difference, adjusting to stores is insane. Oh my God. It was so weird.
I miss the Starbucks in Europe. They had way better stuff. So much better
They
stuff.
had what are they called? Stroopwafel. So even in Greece, you know, it's an Amsterdam delicacy, but in Greece they were still good. And I was like,
No, I miss when you guys took me to the boardwalk and we had to try those little Greek honey donuts, the lakmatis.
oh my
Those
God.
were so good, and I crave one once in a while. And I'm like, I don't have fare to go to Greece to get.
You remember Spoon, right? I miss that
Yes.
place every single day. Every single day. I don't like chocolate, but the chocolate there was amazing. And I think I stumbled upon the chocolate brand because it's Tony's, because it's a huge brand that fights for anti anti-slave labor.
Mhm.
It's better chocolate, something like that. I can look it up and tell you more. But they're really big brand, and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, it's like I have to go home and make waffles with this. But then I didn't buy it because it's really expensive.
It was a fun time. All right, so my final question to you. So there are a lot of young Latinx women that are entering college, and they're all trying to decide whether or not they're going to study abroad. If you have the opportunity to talk to them and speak with them, and you want to get them to go out there and see the world, what would you say to them?
uh, it pays off in the end. There's so many opportunities for scholarships as well. There's one, the scholarship that comes with going for Global Gateway at Mason, depending on your financial need. There's also, I'm pretty sure if you do your own research, ACT gives scholarships. The American College of Thessaloniki that we went to in Greece, they have scholarship based off financial need as well. There's just so many scholarships you can apply to go abroad. So many people want you to go abroad, especially as Latinx community or any other minority. People want you to go because we need more, you know, diversity around the world, diversion just in general here as well. And it's hard to have that when most of our minority communities aren't going abroad and getting to immerse themselves in that kind of culture. So definitely 100% go abroad, no matter the means. Like, I remember I worked 70 hours a week to go abroad. I saved up so much money. Oh my gosh. I worked so much on top of 40 hours of school. So you don't have to like kill yourself to go abroad, but it's definitely something people should do.
All right, that was wonderful. Cece, thank you for talking with me. I do hope you have a good night, okay?